It's Listen In with KNN, the sports sound of the district. We bring you the biggest guests, great analysis, and the hottest sports stories in the nation's capital and beyond. And we bring it to you live. Welcome to this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN. Here's your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live stream edition of Listen In with KNN, presented by Fox Sports Radio. I'm your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. It's an honor and pleasure to be here. Happy Thursday. We've almost made it through the week. I am so excited for today's special guest. As you all know, I am a proud alum of the University of Maryland in Georgetown. I love college sports. I get to cover college sports, and now I'm going to talk with someone who kind of really excelled in college sports. I'll be welcoming in none other than Art Still. He's my special guest. It'll be our first time meeting. If you don't know about him, he's a retired NFL player, and he's also a member of the College Football Hall of Fame. So without further ado, I want to bring Art on. Let's get the show started. So much happening in sports, so we definitely won't be short of sports topics. So let me bring on Art. Art, welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, no, hey, it's great to be on. I didn't know. You went to University of Maryland?
I did. I'm a proud Fear the Turtle alum.
I got some things against you.
Anything mean are you, Art?
I'm going to say I went to University of Kentucky from Camden, New Jersey. But, you know, the crazy thing about when you threw University of Maryland, some bad thoughts came to my mind. I remember we was playing them as a sophomore, University of Kentucky playing University of Maryland. I'm coming down on a kickoff, and lo and behold, Tim Wilson, the fullback for Maryland at that time, he kind of get underneath my chin, and for about a half or so, I think I was talking to the Martians. But it was, you know, it was a nice hit and all too.
Look, okay.
I mean, but it was just one of those good memories because then, you know, it was just kind of funny because when I got drafted to Kansas City Chiefs, I played against him 4 or 5 times. Again, every time I seen him, man, I started talking to the Martians. Yeah.
Look, I like to think Terps are memorable. We do big things, though.
Hey, nothing like a wildcat than a Terp, though. Yeah. No, hey, had a great time, great people.
Man, look, we'll play friendly.
I know that's right. Yeah.
Just remember, Art, if you say something I don't like, I'm able to end the interview really quickly. So be nice to Maryland Terrapins, okay?
Hey,
I'm just kidding.
As they would say, I like to retract that statement and buy 3 vows. No.
We're gonna have fun. If you guys don't know, me and Art were talking backstage. We were comparing whose hair was better for today's broadcast. So Art has me beat by far. I'm not worthy. I'm just not worthy.
I hadn't shown you the cornrows on my back and all. I got cornrows on my back. They said when you grow up and be a man, it comes off the top and rolls down your back and all. So that's just part of the process of migrating into manhood, so to speak.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, let's get into it. So much to talk about in sports. It's funny because when we had all the sports canceled, we're like, oh my gosh, there's not going to be anything to talk about. What are you guys going to talk about? Lo and behold, sports continues to dominate the headlines. We started talking college sports, but let's talk about you first. You talked about University of Kentucky. You kind of were a big deal there. You're in the University of Kentucky Hall of Fame. You did a lot of great things on the football field. But let's just start with introing you, Art. I mean, first, just share your journey and your story. I mean, what led you up to play football at the University of Kentucky?
Well, I had the opportunity. I'm from Camden, New Jersey, and we've played Anacostia, Dunbar, and the schools down there in the D.C. and Baltimore area and all. When I was growing up, Camden High School, we played over in Philadelphia and up north and all that, those types of places and all. But I was pretty fortunate. It was 10 of us in the family. I had another sister that went to the University of Kentucky too. That she was All-American, played basketball there. But I played at Camden High. And it was just one of those situations. I grew up in the projects and all. Economically, you know, things were somewhat deprived and all. But the only way of getting out of Camden for a lot of the fellows and all that participated in sports was using our athletic ability and all. So I had the opportunity of playing basketball and football there, and got a scholarship to the University of Kentucky in 1974. So, and there was a lot of things going on too back then, and all as far as we see things happen now, racial things. And,
touch on it, please.
Back then when I was growing up, and I always use, I use the story because I played against a guy. His name was Rick Fromm. He went to Bishop Houston. It was a Catholic parochial school. Had the money. Cherry Hill, New Jersey had money and all. And it was a rivalry game. It was, we were, the school I went to was blacks and Puerto Ricans. There was predominantly, white and all too. So it was a big conflict as far as game. It was like a war.
Right.
And it was just, you think about what sports and all, what sports have done as far as in reference that we couldn't stand, we hated each other and all as a school and all. And that was just, mental attitude that we had. But then when I went to University of Kentucky, first person there, he was a couple years older than me, was Rick Fromm that played at Houston. Now we playing together, and he's helped me along. And it's just, it was one of those times we're the greatest of friends and all now. And that's going back, you figure back in the 70s and all. That's a little time. So, I mean, that was one of the experiences and all that I had, coming out. And like I said, being fortunate of getting a scholarship. Otherwise, I would probably never went to school and all. So using your athletic ability and then at the same time getting an opportunity, I took advantage of that in the fast minute. Went to University of Kentucky. I played 4 years at the University of Kentucky and did graduate from the University of Kentucky at the same time.
Yeah.
Hooked on phonics didn't work for me though. No. But I had the opportunity, going to Kentucky. Now that's another experience too, because now I'm coming from Camden, New Jersey.
Very different, right?
Projects, all the kids in the class, we might have had one or two. And I don't like using the word white or whatever. I said, lighter shade folks and all. It's darker shade. Distinguish. And that's the way I was taught my mother. There's different shades of folks, but you still have respect for people. You treat people the way you want to be treated. That's the whole way I was taught. But going to Kentucky was the complete opposite. Going to class, and then at the same time when we came in as ball players, and I didn't know it. I was kind of naive about things. I forgot we're going down in the South. From Camden. And it's a different breed, different environment and all too. And again, it's that sports concept, when you come in as a player, that's your family, no matter what shade of color, whatever and all. And I played with guys from the backwoods of Georgia, Florida, Chicago, all over, different shades of folks. And, what we found out was, sports do, draw a bond that lasts forever and all. And so all the guys that I played with, we had that opportunity. We started off, Kentucky wasn't known for football at that particular time and all. I had the opportunity of growing a little bit. My junior year was 9-3, went to the Peach Bowl, won it. And then our senior year was 10-1.
Yeah.
But I had the opportunity of playing with some great ball players, going to a great school, getting an education. And at the same time, develop some good relationships, not only on the sports side of things, but a lot of folks. Because one of the things I learned, people always ask me, going to University of Kentucky, as far as in sports and all, they, so what is the thing that stands out? And I always tell them the same thing. What I learned, you can't judge people by the shade of the color, how much money. You treat people the way you want to be treated.
Right.
And that was the thing, because I knew growing up in Camden, it was a different mindset because a lot of things that you're not aware of, you become ignorant to, and then you just assume. And then you find out, as a whole, we all have the same needs, issues, and problems and all too. So that was a great learning experience for me. And then, like I said, I played with some great ball players, had the opportunity in 1978 getting drafted. I was a number 2 pick right behind Earl Campbell.
Yeah.
And that was kind of different and all for me too, because I never thought too much of myself.
Wow.
And it was just, I think, at the right place at the right time. And, you got to do some things to get yourself in that position and all, but it wasn't just solely me. I had some great parents, my mother and father, good people from the community and all that supported me. And then, like I said, teammates, coaches and all. So there's a supporting audience. And then I had the opportunity of playing for the Chiefs for 10 years. and then finished my career up in Buffalo. I played 2 years up in Buffalo, and then I'm a brain surgeon.
Look at it.
Oh, can you see that on the?
We can see it.
You can? Okay. Yeah, let me show you how that works. No.
I love it. And obviously, I mean, you had this magnificent career. Don't try to tell me you had a great career in the NFL, a great career in college. But I love the message that you're saying. Like you said, it's more relevant, I think, today because we see what this country is going through. And I think your words are so impactful. We all just want to be treated as human beings. As you said, we're all people. Some of us just have a little bit more melanin. That's all.
Yeah.
But we all
And the thing is, it's all, young ones. There's a guy, Bobby Bell. Everybody in sports, especially NFL, know Bobby Bell. Bobby Bell said some things, because there's a bunch of things going on right now, racial issues and problems.
Yeah.
But he had mentioned something too, because, how we respond to things either can take it in the right direction or wrong direction. Mm-hmm. And one of the things he said, like with anger, and again, I grew up in an environment, man, it was back, Black Panthers and all too. Everything was, about keeping us down, oppression. I remember justice. They used to use the term justice only meant just us, growing up, man.
Yeah.
So, that was a term that was used. But having the opportunity, guys like Bobby Bell, having respect for guys that came in before me, because they kind of paved the path where I had the opportunity of playing right now. And then even, in their stages, we all have a responsibility as far as how we conduct ourselves. And just like in a game, and he used the analogy which made a lot of sense, just like a boxer. If a boxer comes out and he's competing against another boxer, the point is, if you get off your game, you get angry, you start swinging wildly and all, you get off your game, who's going to win that match? And it's just like even a situation, no matter what we do in life, man, anger, you can be angry, but you gotta know how to control it, and you gotta know how to use it and all too. And then it's all about doing the right thing. And I think that's one of the things Bobby said, control your anger and do the right thing. And he had good examples too in front of him as his parents, Martin Luther King, and a variety of folks and all that. Even the president at that time, President Kennedy and all. So he tells a story, and it's just a matter of us passing it on and, encouraging the young ones. One of the things I always say too, especially young athletes, student athletes, or boys in general, young boys anyhow, I always ask, I said, who's the most important person in your life? And usually they do come up the right thing. They'll say their mother. And I said, that's the person you're supposed to have the utmost respect for. And vice versa, as a mother and all, just like, and I always make reference to my mother. I think, I don't get into all the transgender stuff and all that, but I think my mom was non-binary. Because my mother, she could be a woman, and then when I act up, I think she turned into a man. Man,
the flip switch, right?
So, oh man, she muscle up on you and all too. But that's the important, especially that relationship. I always go the mother and son relationship, because a mother can teach a son how to be a man too. Yeah. But again, a lot of times, and I even do I got 6 boys, and I explain to my wife all the time. I call her, that's my parole officer, but I call her my wife. And here I better say wife and all. But I always explain to her, just like in the situation with my mother, a woman can teach a young boy, especially her own, how to treat women and all. And we see so much injustice. We talk about injustice, but more so towards women and all. Mothers do everything they can. They are a little bit more emotional about things, except for my mother. My mother she was a raw dog.
But there's mothers too.
Yeah. And so, and that's always keep in mind, man. You think about, I even tell my kids, I said, the most important person, a lot of people talk about the father and all, and he's important, but it's the mother, because 9 months in a womb in your belly, what type of relation? I mean, that's a relationship I could never get as a father and all.
Right. Right. It's an impactful bond. I mean, I think that's why, we love our moms. And I know Father's Day is coming up, so I haven't forgot you all, dads. But like you said, it's like with me, I have a very close relationship.
You said you call me dad. I knew it. Hey, somebody told me it was somebody out there. You get back home here and get this kitchen cleaned up right now.
And actually, speaking of kids, you have a new grandbaby, right? Were we talking about that yesterday? A 1 month old?
I'm going to tell you the side effect as far as going to University of Kentucky, coming from Camden, New Jersey.
Yeah.
I got a little half hillbilly, half Amish in me now.
Oh.
So I got 5 girls and 6 boys.
Wow.
So, and they said the key of staying young. So now I do. I got my 21st grandchild coming up next month in July.
First grandchild.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give everybody the secret of staying young is always having one in diapers.
Having one, right? It'll keep you young.
It used to be, the old timers said back in the day, old timers used to talk about the wife and all. And I said, man, I bet that when she goes in diapers, it's time to give it up. But I'm just always tell people from a different angle, and I'm still reproducing, just a different level.
I love it. I love it. And oh my gosh, what a special bond it is to be a grandparent. I feel like it's one thing being a parent, but that grandparent bond is it's something special. And actually, before we keep continuing, you got a little nice hello from James Lockton. He says, hi, Art.
Oh, James. James, what's going on? Oh, I guess I can't. Oh,
we can hear you.
Hey. James, good talking to you, mate. We had the opportunity to play against each other and play with each other. I finished up in Buffalo, and you talk about good people, good ball player, more good people than ball player.
Yeah.
And then I think who really formed him is his parole officer, his wife. She's been working with him now. It's gonna be all right, James. Get out of the corner. No.
So special. All right. So we've been touching on a bunch, but I think, again, going back to the racial injustice piece, I think we're starting to see this change in this country, and we really see how sports are being involved in it. I mean, you see on the NFL front, you see what's happening in the NBA. People are saying enough is enough around the country. You see Confederate flags, you see Confederate statues being taken down. You see with NASCAR, the Confederate flag, the removal of it. So when you see all of this happening, I mean, do you think the change is going in the right direction for us to get stronger as a country, Art?
Yeah, those are all positive things and all too. But it's almost like keeping things in check, because I kind of somewhat, I don't know exactly where you grew up and all too.
Yeah, I grew up in the DMV area, so right by you, not far from Jersey.
Yeah. So the thing is, and I always look at it, and it's not from it's a real, being realistic and all. Because I grew up in the projects. So there's always going to be, some form of prejudice.
Right.
It could be racial. It could be if you wear glasses, or you might be overweight. You might, and I always use, and it's true, where I grew up, I was considered, high yellow. They had the different grades. So to me, it's almost like when you get folks and all, not just for the racial things, the shape, but just treating people the way they want to be treated.
Right.
And keeping in mind, and I always use the same deal, and this is just true. I, as an individual, I didn't have the opportunity of saying, hey, I want my mother to look like this. I wanted her from this part of town. I want her family to have a bunch of money. My father, I want him to be about 6'7", 6'8". We all, when we come in this world, we got to fame with what we got, what parents we got, And so the thing is, and I joke around and make fun of folks, and we all, that's part of the thing, just joking around. But especially when we make fun of folks, their stature and all. We look at the parents, same stature. They might be short and stocky. I'm tall. People, and people ask me, how did you get so tall? And when you think about it, you're like, well, I think it was the Wheaties and all that I was eating when I was young. Like I had control, but we do have, and that's where the choice is. We do have a choice as we grow up, how we treat others, what we put in our bodies, how we take care of ourselves, how much sleep we get or whatever. We have those choices and all, but as far as our shade of color or our mother or parents, we don't. So just, I think keeping that in mind, we look at folks maybe from the Middle East or whatever, certain parts of the country are war torn, they got the terrorists and all. Like them kids want to grow up in that environment. Yeah. So it's not like, you look at people in a negative fashion, or you look at them as family. And that's the same thing. And there's a variety of things. We talk about, I remember once upon a time riding around the streets, you see once it was might have been maybe one or two people on the corner, maybe we used to call them whiners. They want a quarter, go buy some wine.
Yeah.
But now you look on the corners now, different age groups, women, young women. And so, we're not in a position to start judging folks because we don't know how they got in that position. I always say,
so true.
Everybody we meet every day is facing or some challenges or issues in their life we don't know anything about. We need to be kind.
Right.
And those are the things I keep in mind. I try to be like Mr. Rogers, It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yes, we always need a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yes.
But I appreciate you touching on that. And I think the background thing is huge because many times, from certain backgrounds, sometimes you do look at sports to come out of your surrounding because you're trying to make it out. But then I also think that important part is that giving back to the community, feeding back into your community so you can make a better tomorrow for the next kids coming up. And I think that's what we see a lot of, right? A lot of these athletes, that's why they use sports as this. And this takes me to this next part of the conversation. I want to get your thoughts on, we're all talking about players getting paid for their likeness and what we should do. What are your overall thoughts on that? I mean, do you believe that we should be compensating players for this work, right, that they're putting in at their colleges and their schools?
Well, always, even when I was playing ball, and I always look at it, I was pretty fortunate as far as having an opportunity of playing for the NFL. Yes, there's some things I had to do. You put yourself in that position, but I had a support team. And I was pretty fortunate. But a lot of times when I talk to young ones, if I go into school and all, I always make the analogy and all, like with teachers,
right,
and athletes, who's more important? Or a mechanic and athlete, who's more important? Your car break down, don't come to me. I'll be putting some sugar in the tank. That's the only thing I know how to do is put sugar in the tank. I learned that back in Camden. Yeah. But the thing is, it's almost like keeping things in perspective. And I think a lot of times as a society, as folks, you see a ball player start off in high school, very meek and then go to college. People start pumping them. And then you make it in the pros. People put you up, as a guy, so to speak.
Yeah, they look up to you.
And then what happens is a lot of the fans and folks, man, he's got a big head. He thinks he this and that.
Yeah.
And then I'm always thinking, who created this? Who made this position or this game or profession much more important than society itself and all. So I think it's a matter of keeping things. No matter if and I'm gonna tell you, one of the best advice I got, and I can remember, I think I was in middle school. I was running late for school.
Yeah.
The trash man. And he used this term, you better get to school and get an education. But the thing is, he was doing the best, I couldn't sit down. He's doing the best thing to take care of his family and all too.
Right.
And people like that, those are the folks that need to get the recognition and all. The ones that are just barely making it, but they doing the right thing. But then again, and I can, my time here in Kansas City, I remember one time, the first time I dated my wife, went to a place to eat. Well, that wasn't, it happened before. But then you go in there and in consideration, everybody else in the restaurant, you got enough money to pay for it. The manager comes up when I offer, hey, we're going to take care of your meal. And my line was to him was, hey, I tell you what, why don't you take care of maybe cuz over here that's probably have been saving months to take his wife out
to eat, yeah.
Who's the one that need it? And that's the whole point. Why not do things that, help others that need the help than just try to just more so be about yourself and all. And I try to live my life like that pretty much so.
No, that's great. I think this is what we love. Like I think about Marshawn Lynch, and I mean, there's so many players you can do. On my podcast version of the show, I do my Do Good Award for that very reason. I talk about the athletes that are doing more than just being athletes and giving back to their communities, because that's how you make your community stronger. The worst thing you can do is just leave and take your resources and not come back. And I think that's why sometimes you see these areas where you go back 30 years and it's still the same. And you talk about a place like Camden, and I see the change that's happening in Camden now. Attention is on Camden, and I love, love, love that you give back. And really quick, I want to say hello to some of our loyal listeners. Thank you so much, Courtney, for tuning in. Appreciate you, and Nathan as well. Look at it. Look, you got all the fans watching us. Yeah. It's all you.
Hey, I'm taking small donations. Going to go towards. Hey, no, I was going to say, Kelsey, back at you, so to speak, because I know we first met, a couple weeks ago?
Yes.
A week ago. So.
Yeah.
And I was just like we all, we got this Google thing. I was doing the Googling on you. And that's one of the things that stood out about me and all, not just, just being a beautiful lady and professional and all too, but more so, you got foundations that you're doing things with, and you made a statement about youth and all. You dedicate your life as far as, and that's why I think we get along so good, because it's the same thing here. It's all about, this is my line. My line is this. I seen it, they said, and when you help others, you heal yourself. And I always tell people I got a lot of healing to do, so I got to do a lot of helping. And it makes and they speak about it. When you look at the research about kindness, when you treat other people, just a smile, man, that changes your hormones, your persona, right? And it makes you want to do good and all. And it's just a matter of just do once a day, just do something. You're just like neighbors. I can remember growing up in, the projects, you knew all your neighbors. Nowadays,
you know everybody.
People don't even know who lives next door to them.
It's crazy.
And remember back in the day, you used to go knock on the door. I'd like to borrow a cup of sugar. People used to share. I mean, it was, or, going back in the day when you was hanging out on the corner with the fellas, man, everybody chipped in for half pint of Thunderbird, and everybody just, Coke 45, everybody. It was like a community base, even though you was underage drinking and all.
Yeah.
I'm turning myself in right now.
It was a community thing. Don't worry, you guys. This is all the stories. It's just a story, you guys. It's nothing true, nothing.
Oh, yeah. I made that story up, you guys.
No, but it's important. And like you said, we connected because the youth aspect of it. Like, of course, I love my job, but I mean, I would not be where I am if so many people didn't pour into me. And I have great parents, a great foundation, a great sister. But, my parents worked a lot when I was a kid. I always say I was always the first one at daycares and the last one to leave. So many people, so many mentors. I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club. I had so many people that
talk about that too.
Yes, invested in me, right? And so I'm here today, and I think I'm able to just talk with so many different people because I grew up around so many different people. I had to meet so many different people. I think I went to like 12 daycares as a kid, right? Like you always had to meet. I always had to meet people. I always had to get along. And then I have a big personality. So quite frankly, I was always talking with people. And then always, the mentors always just made sure I could believe in me and I could do this because probably like you always had people telling me, no, you can't do that. There's no way you're going to make it in sports broadcasting. I'm sure you coming from Camden, no way you're going to make it out of Camden, right? Like you always have those doubters and those naysayers.
But the thing is, and that's one of the things I kind of appreciate. You'll find out, even as coaches now, when we, I had coaches in high school, and they were some raw, they were rough, but just like my mother and all, my parents and all, even in the neighborhood, everybody, when my mother was around, my next door neighbor, if she was around, that was my mother. And so the thing is, it was a combination. Then I went to school. We had Mrs. Cream. She was married. I don't know if folks remember Jersey Joe Wolcott. He was back, I think, in the 50s and all. He was a heavyweight championship boxer. Yeah. And she was our principal, and she didn't cut us no slack. I had coaches, teachers, and all that pushed us in the right direction. Even though, as young ones, we kind of somewhat, but they kept us in the right direction.
Kept you grounded,
Yeah, and some of us, and I always kind of relate back, I had some ball players. Derek Ramsey is another guy. We went to high school, we went to college together. He played for the Raiders and Detroit and New England and all. Yeah. He got some rings on his fingers. But it was just the same thing. Then we had another guy, Darryl Lee, we call him Doc Lee. Mm-hmm. Had all the ability in the world. He's the most athletic on our team and all. But then again, what you find out in life and all is how you look at things. If your attitude, sometimes you got to bite your tongue and do what you got to do. If you got to have some long-term goals. And a lot of times you can be biting your tongue because there's going to be things that you ain't going to want to do. But a lot of times coaches and teachers or whoever out there is just testing to see if you got that resilience that you're going to push yourself. And that's one of the things I kind of appreciate. I had all along the way, through college and all, and even right now, people, everybody's about the support system. If you got a good support system, you can get in the right direction.
Yeah. I mean, it's so true that support is huge. And this is why, like, community really raises an athlete. We talked about the importance of your
Yes.
parents in your life and those that maybe don't have the parents in their life. It's like, this is why, I mean, everybody has usually a caring adult, right, in their life that they can reach out to. And it's so important to give back. And Art, I'm so glad we were touching on that. And I want to say with college sports, we're getting more hellos. Hello, Toddy, our newest intern on the show. Thank you so much for David for also tuning in. But going back to college sports and doing the right thing and having caring adults, you talked about coaches earlier and how the coaches have kind of helped touch and shape you. You know, a coach that's getting a lot of flack, quite frankly, in the news right now, Oklahoma State coach, right? Mike Gundy. We see.
Right.
I had to ask you about it. We had to talk about it.
No, I'm half hillbilly, half Amish. I don't even have them on this thing right here. It's technology. No. It's just.
And you got on early. I was so happy and so proud.
Oh yeah. You know, once
Mike Gundy, you know, we had the situation with him where people saying, "Wait, you're a coach and you don't get it. Your players are telling you, and you don't get it." You know, he called him. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. You told me go ahead.
Can you still hear me, Art?
Yeah, you just moving. It's almost like
have a little
right
technical difficulties. So let me try to bring him back on.
Hey, I'm not.
There we go, Art.
I'm not.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, much better.
Now we can hear you. I think it was
I had to go back. I had to go back to the makeup room. I was starting to sweat a little bit and do some powder.
You look great.
And pull it back in the ponytail. I ain't want that stuff on my eye. Now you were saying something about the coach.
Gundy.
Yeah. Now what all happened down there?
So basically, he had went on camera. He was wearing a T-shirt that promoted a far-right wing cable news network. They're called One American News. If you look them up, you'll see some of their views are, you know, not in line with some of the things, quite frankly, that people are protesting about right now. And he said he was unaware of the positions that the network had taken on a numerous amount of issues. They have some issues with Black Lives Matter. And if you remember the incident in Buffalo with the protester getting pushed down, like there's so many just things. I encourage everybody to look up the full story. But essentially, he wore the shirt. People thought it was insensitive to the times that are going on now. And then he does this apology that, quite frankly, if you watch it, it just didn't seem authentic. I think now we're seeing all these, PR crafted apologies that sometimes just don't land at home. People right now, I think in the times we're living in, people want you to just be real in your authentic self. I know I've had real conversations with people that said, Kelsey, hey, I didn't get this before, but now I'm trying to. What can I do to learn more? What can I do to understand? And as a college football coach, you're leading a team. You have so many guys that depend on you, right? You're trying to recruit for the next year. And for you to not get it, it's a problem.
Yeah,
it's a problem. So for you to just say you didn't know, this is why you have to be well informed. But also, again, the apology matters. I mean, I'm sure you had a close relationship with your coach. If your coach did something that you didn't think was right, you call him out for it, right?
Yeah, and I'm thinking, usually a coach, and that's and I use the analogy, once upon a time, I know you said you spent some time in the daycare, but when I was growing up,
you still hear me? All right, good. You're kind of breaking up.
You can't hear me? You still can't hear me?
Yeah.
You hear me all right? Are we there? Are we home yet? Are we there yet? Can you hear? You can't hear?
Mm-hmm.
You hear me? You see me?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I talk?
You're like breaking up. It might be your Wi-Fi. I'm going to take you off really quick, and I'm going to bring you back, okay? So
you do that right quick, yeah.
And back.
Okay.
Now I can hear you good, but your video's gone. We can't see you. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, no, you went back off. Okay, keep going.
No, I was going to say, in reference, when we was growing up, usually the mother was home raising the kid. And that was the important aspect of a child's life, especially growing up. Nowadays, you see two parents working, and usually what happens is that those teachings, those soft skills that a parent would teach, now they're relying more so on the teachers and more importantly, the coaches. Mm-hmm. And, that's the same thing of me. Your coach becomes your parent. Right. And then, you can go to school for 4 years and you can have a coach for 4 years. Usually teachers, you might stay in touch with the coaches, man, they leave an impact that can make a difference in your life, because that's, especially in high school, you think about in high school, those 4 years in high school and then college, those are the most important, parts of a young one's life, teen and young, teenager and all too. But as a coach, you would think a coach would be proactive, be thinking ahead of things and all too. Right. But, wearing something that symbolizes something that might, is a distraction you always want to err on the cautious side than anything else and all. And that's just common sense. That's why I wore you notice the shirt I wore right here. My shirt right here, Willie Stargell. So I had to wear that in memory because he's one of the players and all, Bobby Bell, all them guys back in the day that set a standard for guys like myself to have the opportunity of playing professional sports and moving on. And, through their example and how they conduct themselves, even though they went through a lot of things, racial things and all, like Bobby was talking about, even getting drafted Chiefs and all, coming here to Kansas City. Yeah. He couldn't go in restaurants and a variety of things. Yeah. And so, I'm very thankful for folks like that took a stand and hung in there, didn't get angry and just created more problems, but worked the system to where we're at right now. And we're still working the system. We'll be working the system until they dig the deep hole for us. Yeah. For you, maybe not me. I'm going to be cremated. No. I ain't gonna die.
No, of course we gotta have you on the show forever. So stay with us. But I think what you said is so important because you also look at the situation with Dabo Sweeney and the Football Matters shirt, and of course that was a playoff, unfortunately, the Black Lives Matter movement, and you have to get it. All right, as a college coach, you are a leader. You're put in a position. Talk to your players. Talk with your personnel. See what's happening in the country around you, because again, everyone's looking. Everyone's looking. All eyes are on you. And quite frankly, you have to hopefully make that right decision. So I really appreciate you touching on that. And then also the Colin Kaepernick issue. We talk about racial injustice, right, and what he was doing. And then we see more players in the NFL saying, hey, I'm going to kneel next season during the national anthem. College players also looking at, hey, I don't know if I'm going to stand for the national anthem. I think this is something, too, coaches are having to grapple with. How do you support your players, man? Are you going to kneel with them? Are you not? But if you're not, are you going to explain to them why you're not? And still somehow try to explain your support for them, right? So it's a position and it's a difficult conversation now that I think they're all having to have, right? Because of what's happening in our country. And even just, I'm sure, talking in your locker room with your players about what's happening in your country or on Zoom, right? Because of COVID-19 and the impact. What would your advice be to college coaches, right? Who don't come from a similar background, who have majority African-American players that are trying to connect with these players, but maybe they're not used to the environments where they grew up. Maybe for the first time they're seeing, this anger in their players that they haven't seen before. What advice would you give them?
Well, life is about being empathetic, putting yourself in the other person's position and all too. And it's not, you don't have to go to school and get a degree as far as relationship. A lot of it's just common sense. Right. As we stated before, what part of town we from. It's not like, hey, I want to grow up in Camden and the projects and all and just live on welfare. That happens. So I think, and just like, I was telling you about Rick Fromm, I played against Bishop Houston. Yeah. He did pretty good. And the funny thing about that, he had a green Nova. And when I had to come home for Thanksgiving and Christmas and all, me and Rick driving, he drops me off in Camden and he heads to Cherry Hill, New Jersey and all. So the thing is, as to me, it's almost just, you just put yourself in other people's shoes. And I think that's the easiest way of doing it. But, in reference symbolically, kneeling or whatever, that's a matter of choice. To me, it's almost like you can't go after a person if he kneels or if he don't kneel. That's his choice. Right. But the thing is, the way I look at it, and the same thing my mother taught, action speaks louder than words. Yes. You can do all these things to make yourself look like this. I know, but are you living a lifestyle? Are you living what you're talking about? Or is just like we talk about domestic violence? You can talk, hey, this, and you go home to your wife, to your partner, or to your kids, and you're doing the exact same thing you're talking against. So, that's where you become a hypocrite. But I think, as James Brown would say, talking loud but ain't saying nothing. I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the door, I'll get it myself. And that's, we have the opportunity of doing the right thing and all. If you probably, you James Brown person? Hot tub, hit me. I mean, no, maybe not hit me.
Yes, I love James Brown. Look,
Yeah,
I was vibing with you. You had.
Oh yeah, hey, it's just we chuckle about things because you can tell I'm pretty serious about things. But I go to these places where it's predominantly a lighter shade folks, and they ask, "You got any requests for any song?" They start saying, "Play some James Brown. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud."
I love it. All right, this is so much fun. All right, I want to stay with college football. There's, again, a lot happening. We're going to kind of switch the tone. We're going to go to some jollier tones. A lot of us are talking about this 2021 College Football Hall of Fame ballot. Did you get to see any of the names yet are on the list?
No, I haven't seen it. I'm not into technology. How did I get on this?
Well, look, this is why we're connected.
Okay, no. Hey, tell me who's on the list.
All right, so some of the notable players. We have Champ Bailey, quarterback from Georgia. We have Ken Dorsey, quarterback.
Denver, man, Southeastern Conference, and also AFC West guy. You got my 2 thumbs up on that.
Look at this. All right, we have Ken Dorsey, quarterback from Miami.
Yes.
Dwight Freeney, defensive end, Syracuse. Tony Gonzalez, tight end, California.
Yeah.
You liking the list so far? These are the notable names. Again, it's long. These are the notable names.
When you said California, I'm thinking Hotel California. Oh, that's funny.
Marvin Harrison, wide receiver, Syracuse.
Wow.
Ray Lewis, linebacker, Miami. Carson Palmer, quarterback, USC. Julius Peppers, defensive end, North Carolina.
Wow.
Antoine Randall L., quarterback, Indiana. Troy Vincent, cornerback, Wisconsin. It's a lot of names on this. And of course, you have some familiarity with this process. You were the 5th Wildcat to enter the College Football Hall of Fame. All right, congratulations to you and talking about your football career.
Well, I had to vote. It took me a lot of votes pretending like I was somebody else when I was checking the thing. I had the Russians working along with me and all, and some of the Martians, we was working with the computers and FaceTime and all that kind of stuff, man.
And it just happened.
Oh,
what was that moment like for you? What did that mean for you to just obviously have that cherry on top of your career?
Well, it's again, being in the right place at the right time, so to speak. And then it's the supporting staff, the folks that really got me there and all. It's a great honor. I got the ring and all that kind of stuff. And that's, it's a great honor and a privilege. But again, keep yourself grounded somewhat because that doesn't make you any better than anybody else. When I came home, my parole officer made me clean the house. But I'm just saying, it's a platform that you can use to help others and all too.
Right.
So, and that's the way you can look at it. It's just a stepping stone to maybe, otherwise you can talk to certain folks or you're invited to do things, invited events, foundations and all too, where you can acknowledge the benefits of that foundation and do what you can to help out.
Yeah, do what you can to help out. I think that's just, again, such a powerful message. This is why I was so honored and so glad to have you on this show.
Hey, hooked on phonics worked for me. I did pass that class.
Too funny. All right, so we've talked a lot of college football. Let's transition to the NFL. You touched on just some of your highlights, but let's talk the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, a lot of us are talking like maybe they'll be able to get the job done in Tampa once again this year. Talk about the Kansas City Chiefs and this team that we have. We know Patrick Mahomes is leading it. We're all Patrick Mahomes fans of what he's doing. But do you think that they'll get back to the promised land come this NFL season?
Well, the momentum is there now because if you think about the previous season, then last year they had an opportunity. And then they took it to that next level. Yes, I think, when you're winning, it takes you to another level and all. And then if you keep that core group of guys there and, with Mahomes and Kelsey and, you got the guys on the defense and all too.
Right.
And sometimes it's a little off balance, because we had offense and all that. Maybe the first half like they weren't going to do anything and they come back and put the score, the numbers up on the board and all too. So I think it's just like anything else. You just got to take it one game at a time. I know we're talking about ahead, and I think that's the same thing Coach Reed and all. And I think the players that are level-headed and all about things know that, it was a great honor. We did it. That's in the past. Now we got to move on. Because if you talk 3 years ago who won the Super Bowl, you had to do some serious thinking about that, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, for sure. And I think all your points are valid. But again, I mean, I think they're a team to watch. Of course, pretty much we're all talking
yes.
we're all talking about Patrick Mahomes. We're talking about Lamar Jackson. I think what those two, I don't want to call them young kids, but they're younger than me, so I'm gonna call them young kids. What those two young kids are doing on the football field, it's magnificent, and football is exciting, right? I mean, now we have Brady's not. I mean, of course, we're still talking Brady, but he's not the talk of the town, right?
That's a shame. That's a shame, man. I can see Mahomes and all, man, around about that time. Hey, he ain't the talk of the town no more. I mean, but it's but funny. We chuckle about that.
Yeah.
And just like they said, the NFL, not for long. And that, you bring out a good point. That's why you take advantage of what you got right now. And then, a lot of times folks say, oh, these owners are paying them all this money. These players, man, making all this money. Mm-hmm. But you think about that. These owners are the smartest guys, businessmen around. They have, their executive suite, corporate. I mean, they're folks around them. So they ain't gonna be investing any money. They ain't gonna make no money out. So they're in the business to make money too. So there's a combination going right here. That's why you got to take advantage. When you get that opportunity, take advantage. And I know the fellas and all. It's not like sometimes, he got the money now. He's getting lazy and all.
Yeah.
A lot of the fellas, we all have pride in what we're doing. We want to, even right now, and I still consider, there's been times where 2:00 in the morning, I'm sweating. I'm thinking I got to go to practice. And then I realized, man, I need some more Bengay on my back. It's killing me. But it's one of those things. And you talk to most ball players now, that's been retired. They still can go out there and all. It's just what kind of tow truck or what kind of wheelchair gonna get them out there.
They're gonna get out there one way or another.
One way or another.
That makes me think. I mean, I would love to get your viewpoint and your thoughts on just this whole concussion issue. And just how you think we can make the game safer.
Well, I believe when we was playing, concussions was just part of the game. It was in denial. Hey, that's just, you see stars. Well, even when you practice, I remember back in the day, you practice, you see stars and all. That was just, you get up, man, people laugh at you, man, and make fun of you and all. I remember one time, in the game and stuff, because you can tell when a player, man, got a hit, and you're trying to get him the right way and all. But it was there was a combination. Not only that, but then there was a situation too. If you got hurt and you didn't play, there's an opportunity. Somebody might come behind you and take your position. Mm-hmm. So there's a combination of things. But if I was playing today and I had the knowledge about concussions and all, and I think they're starting to take the precautionary way of doing things, of bringing you out. I think I probably would be still playing right now. I'd probably be about 90 years old still out there. But I think they're doing the right things, so to speak.
Yeah.
Teaching the younger ones too. And that's, youth football, how to tackle. I mean, there's a variety of things. You got youth and you got high school and college. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like not just starting off on a professional level, man, but you got to start the young ones and having them be aware, if something does happen. It's not about being a man and I can play through this, or recognizing the importance of your teammates, making sure, keeping an eye out for one another and all too. And then you keep in mind with parents and all, because sometimes you get parents out there want their kids to play no matter what, and it's all about you want to enjoy the game for what it is, but you also want to keep it safe.
Right. And, it's that safety part that we want, right? Because it's sad, Art. You see less kids now playing youth football because, quite frankly, it seems like their parents are scared of this concussion issue.
Yes.
But, it's American, right? We love our football. We love our sport. I think, as we make the game safer, we'll continue to see a rise in the sport. And, we need that pipeline, right? We need the NFL to go on, hopefully, for a long time and have our Tom Brady's and our Patrick Mahomes and the future kids that will do even better.
You said Tom Brady is gone, didn't you? Oh, no. Boy, that's a shame on you. Wait till Thomas, what you say. Tom
is still terrific. And also, before I want to talk more about some of the current things you're doing, but I want to get your thoughts since we're talking about the Chiefs. We talked about opportunity earlier, and the Rooney Rule has been something that we've quite frankly talked about a while. I had Jim Rooney on the show. We talked about it. We talked some of the changes. Eric Bieniemy is a guy that we're all saying, hey, pretty good, really good. Would love to see head coaching opportunity possibly. So I just want to get your thoughts on how the NFL can continue this pipeline. We're talking about pipelines for more diversity in the coaching ranks, especially the head coaching ranks.
Well, I, it's much different than what it was back when I was playing ball, all too.
Yeah.
And I think there's opportunities. I don't know the inside of what's going on and all too, but I think it's in the right direction. I know we're talking about coaches and all too. They're trying to implement women and all as far as being coaches.
And they need
yeah. And I'm like this, even back, even when you get old and stuff, you always thinking, man, if I had me a nice looking, defensive line coach, I think I would have played much better, man. I mean, but that's just that. I think those are concussions there. I like to retract that statement again. But it's just one of those deals. It's all about if you're proven and you have the skills, no matter if it's in football or anything else. And I keep going back to old James Brown. I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the door, I give it myself. So the thing, if you're doing the right things to get you in that position, man, when you get that opportunity, take advantage of it. Don't sit there and just get relaxed, because then you got to take it to another level and all too. And I think the NFL. I don't know your thoughts. I think it's going in that right direction and all too. Sometimes change don't happen as quick as we want it. Just like we're talking about the problems, the racial problems that we're having right now.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen overnight. I mean, it's going to be, and there's a lot of folks, and I can tell you a story when I was up in Buffalo, because when I retired, I came back to Kansas City. Then me, and I had my kids and all, we moved up Western New York for about 5-6 years. And so we lived out, it was an actual Amish community out there in the Indian Reservation. We was out in the backwoods. Yeah. And there was one of the guys, old Dick. Dick was, I shouldn't say it that way. Dick.
Yeah.
He worked for the county. We lived in Cattaraugus County. And the thing is, it was saying his friends were Ku Klux Klans. And it was just kind of funny because I'm in a relationship. My wife is a little lighter shade too. So it was just one of those deals. I got to know Dick because Dick probably had his problems too, as far as on the racial side, but it was more so ignorance than anything else. And we used to go, he had a big old dairy farm. I used to take my kids over there. And he had one time, his wife at that time, she said he used to always make reference to, couples and all that had interracial kids. I don't know how you say that, but he used to call them tainted. That's what she used to tell. And so, we developed a relationship over a period of time. Matter of fact, one of the guys that come up and visit, he was a Ku Klux Klan. Little tiny dude, about that tall. Man, I don't think he had little fingers too. No, but it was just one of those deals. It was just, I treated him with respect. We went back and forth, and she said, she told Liz, my wife, that one night she was just messing with him. She said, "Man, those, Art's poor, tainted kids," and she said he got upset. "Don't you ever call them kids tainted." So it's how we act. I could have jumped out, man, when I heard that and took the assumption that and just go all in his face and got angry. But as we learned about each other and we helped each other, we did things. That's what life all about. We all, and there's nobody around here can throw stones, as far as, prejudice or anything, because we prejudge all the time. It might not be to that extreme. So, I mean, does it the big one or the little one or whatever, it's still prejudice. So how do we work on that and stay on that? And so we got to start off in the morning, get up in the morning, and just keep in mind that we going our dress attire for the day is kindness.
I like that.
Make somebody, and my wife, she gets upset. I say, I make me 4 or 5 friends every time I meet somebody. That's a new friend of mine. Just in case something goes down, I got me some partners right there.
Yeah, you got someone to have your back, right?
Oh, yeah. They might be around the corner. They see me. Oh, you all right?
All right, this has been so much fun. I can't believe how quickly it's gone. But I want to talk about all the great stuff you're doing now. You have Art Still body, brain, and financial health platforms. I mean, tell us this pretty cool thing that you're doing, and where can we get involved? Where can we learn more?
Well, it's just we talk about wellness and all that kind of stuff. And that's what, one of the things I found out when I was playing ball, is that there's a lot of folks out there, and I'm not saying all, we
Right.
talk about agents and all too, representing ball players. I remember back in the day, you get an agent, and it's probably still happening today. They'll tell you, hey, your strength or your expertise is in football. You focus there, we'll take care of your money. And yes, they did take care of your money because you trust people. And that, there's a lot of folks like myself that come out from an environment where when, people treating you right, sometimes you can't see around the corner where they're coming from. You treat people the way you want to treat. Sometimes people take advantage and all too.
Right.
So one of the things that I was talking about on that Still for Life and all that we have, it talks about, the brain, the body and all. We got to take care of, what we can do with that. But then again, how important sleep, what we put in our system, the environment, we're around negative environments. And it comes to even with me, and again, even music and all. Sometimes that music, it's some good music that you can, there's certain times for it and all. But sometimes if you hear the same thing over and over, that beat, and I'll give you another good example. I remember when I was living in Olathe, right outside of Kansas City here, I used to go to this gym about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Man, I hated heavy metal music. So you go to a lot of those gyms, man, they crank that thing up in the morning. I'm sitting there, man. And about 3 or 4 weeks later, you know what happened? I was with with Lynn, we was at a store and stuff, where we was doing something. All of a sudden I start whistling this heavy metal music. And so that's an important thing. What we put in our minds, if it's negative towards women and a variety of things. And again, that's my personal opinion and all. Everybody look at things differently. Right. It can affect your mood. It can affect your stress and all too, because you're always on the edge, so to speak. Yeah. And so, keep those things in mind. But then, when I was talking about the agent thing and the financial side, that's one aspect of all of us. If you can develop yourself a nice program where what's happening with your funds and your money and all, and you're not credit cards, the way the system's set up, they want you to just buy everything and the system want to own you. And so that's why we came with the financial health, because the thing is, if you're in financial problems, so to speak, you can't sleep at night. You working out, man, them muscles are tense and all. You have you think about it, financial situations where, you get ready to take your house or you get ready to get kicked out or evicted from a place and all. Right. That's going to affect your relationship with your partner, with your kids, those around. So it's just, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist, so to speak, but there's companies, I'm working along for a company called UCSES, and they work with young kids and all too, and that's what I'm doing with my kids. Nice. But it's just simple programs, and sometimes you got to invest a little bit of money. I'm not talking about, there's some companies out there, but you invest a little bit of money and get yourself a game plan, just like playing in sports. The game plan is not just, okay, I check it out today, I'm in the game. No, it's, having yourself a game plan for about a year or so, and just, it's like anything else, becomes a lifestyle now. And it's the same thing with what we put in our system, understanding, making an informed decision, drinking a soda, a bunch of crap, man, I call it poison and all. The most important, I always tell young ones too, when I ask, I said, how much of your body, what's your body made up as far as water? Usually 75. So how do you replace that? How do you replace? Well, you got most of you, what you put in your body's got there. You got to have that water replenished. Not, you're going to have some problems. Right. And that's why I got this color right here and stuff. I got some problems. No.
No, this is awesome. Okay, so to learn more, give us the website for those that are listening to you.
Oh, it's there's and then we got a foundation and all. We're working with foundations called Still. No, it's not. Still, you got me on my. Okay, the website. If you can put it in your deal, it's Still STILL the number 4 and then life LIFE.com, and then we got Syndicate Coffee Team .com, and that's we're working with foundation, Jim Kelly's foundation. We're doing some things with the Ron Cherry. We're doing some things to NFL alumni. Super Bowl with Karen, that's an event that they have throughout the year and all, but during the Super Bowl time, they raise we do packages of food and all for kids that don't.
Nice.
And so that's a nice thing. 100% of the profits go back to the foundation. We use coffee as the platform of e-commerce where, you get a subscription. The full profit goes back to the foundation. We're doing some other things with some other. Also, remember we was talking about the Boys and Girls Club.
Yes.
And I thought, I didn't understand. There's another division of the Boys and Girls Club. Mm-hmm. It's Native services. Yeah. So they deal with the Indian reservations, the American Samoan community and all too.
Yeah, amazing.
So I was just, and then when you do the research on that, you find out on those reservations, you think we got problems. The youth and all, suicide, drugs, sexual abuse. When we see these things, we got to look at ourselves and do the best that we can to help others and all too. So
yes, that's what it's about.
Yes.
Art, this has been such a pleasure. I'll make sure I put all the links into the comments after this video interview. This has, again, it's been a true joy and pleasure. And now I got to give you the toughest question of the interview. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it, Art?
It's a yes or no.
You're in Kansas City, all right? Yeah. So when we go back to traveling, I got to get out there. I've worked with Darren Smith, who works out there. I need you to tell me where I can get the best barbecue sauce and where I get the best barbecue. Because I'm told y'all have the best. And I know you spend a lot of time there. So please give me the right answer, Art.
I might have to. I would probably go, there's a lot of places. It's just according to what type of barbecue sauce you like or barbecue you like.
Oh, man. I want sweet tangy sauce.
Okay.
I know I put you on the spot, Art.
Yeah, you did. I would go to any of the above. No. So when are you coming? You come out this way every year?
I will. Well, I mean, it depends on COVID, right? But hopefully, I will be back out there. Yeah.
I was gonna say, if you come out, game's on me.
Oh, okay. Look, that makes me happy.
Oh no! Just say, make sure you wear some clothes and all. Got knee pads because that little fence and all at the.
Knee pads. We're crawling in, right?
Yeah. We're gonna go in there
going under.
Yeah. Now you did put me on a barbecue. How about so I kind of watch what I eat now. So I kind of live that lifestyle. So I kind of everything I eat is
healthy. You're too healthy for us, Art.
I'm trying to extend my shelf life.
Well, that's good. All right. Well, look, we'll get you. What is it? The vegan bar? Do they have vegan barbecue? I don't even know.
I eat a lot of organic food. Well, mainly everything organic. And then I just got on this thing. It's a doctor. It's called Undoctored. It's a book. And then I was talking to Dr. Davis and all. I got away from wheat and whole grain.
Nice.
So, I mean, it
changes you when you do.
Changes
your body. It changes your body once you do.
No. The thing is, it's all, and I always tell people, don't listen to me. Do the research, make an informed decision and all too. So that's how I don't judge nobody else, how they live and all, unless they, in the way, and I got to drive them over. No.
All right. This is again so much fun. Before I let you go, any last words for our listening audience?
Well, I would say enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Stay positive and make a difference.
I love it. Stay positive, make a difference, and enjoy the day. With that, Art,
then send money.
Oh, and send all your money, your whole paycheck. Please send it to Art.
These hands need
Most
to be
important message.
These hands need to be healed.
I love it, Art. Thank you so much for joining me. Please don't be a stranger to the show.
Hey, I appreciate it. You take care. Don't get in no trouble.
I promise I won't. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great one. Bye. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening again. That was Art Still, retired NFL player, just an extraordinaire. Check out his site. He's doing some amazing, amazing things. I have to thank him for his time. Thank you all for joining me. This week we have 3 shows. We have one tomorrow. We usually don't do Fridays, but we'll be back here at 6 p.m. with Anthony Morrow, NBA veteran, played in the Big 3, an entrepreneur, and doing great things on the charity side. We're going to talk all things NBA. Yes, we're going to try to figure this one out. And then on Saturday, Ben Wallace is coming to the show. So Detroit Pistons fans, you're welcome. We're going to talk all things going on with him and the NBA G League and just so much more. That's Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and then tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern time with Anthony Morrow. That'll do it for the show. Again, I'm your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. Truly appreciate you all listening. I could not do it without you. If you see anything you like, hashtag listen in with KNN or hashtag LIWKNN on social media. Put it out there. Of course, the podcast version is also available on iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify. We're giving you guys lots of content. Please, again, join us each and every week. Your support truly does matter to me. We upped it to 3 days a week because that's what you all asked for. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow. That will do it for this edition of Listen In with KNN. I hope you all had fun and hopefully learned something. Stay safe until tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Follow Kelsey on social media at The Real K Nelson. And catch each broadcast of Listen In with KNN on air at AM 1340 and 96.9 FM Fox Sports Radio on YouTube, on Facebook and Twitter, and online at KelseyNicoleNelson.com. Thank you for watching this special live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN.